He's going to stand there and tell you she deleted things, she changed things, she lied to the FBI without intent? This was all a mistake? This is all a slip of the mind? Yet this woman qualified to be president of the United States? Are you out of your goddamn mind? I'm not sure where you're out of your mind first. The fact that you would believe a fucking fool like Jim Comey, who stands there and lies to your face like a crackhead at the 7-Eleven, or that you believe an idiot like Hillary Clinton deleted 30,000 plus emails and classified material and lied to the FBI without intent. You must be a goddamn fool too. I tell you what, why don't you loan me $200? I'll be back in 15 minutes and pay you right back. I'm going to give you $250 back. You wait right here. You give me that money, I'm going to take some of it. I'm going to get you some fireworks for the 4th of July, you sucker. You're a sucker nation, people. You're being suckered by the simplest of things. Well, you Bronx people, you think you're smart, you think you're hip, you think you're cool? You're a bunch of fucking clowns, man. You get the wool dragged over your eyes like you're some rube right out of Ivy League school. You know, Wallace, who's never been off the friggin' family plantation. Right? You all think you're slick. You all think you're streetwise. Well, streetwise, what are you doing while your nation's being stolen from you? I know what you're going to do. You're going to go out in November and you're going to press the lever for the idiots who were stealing your nation from you. Mr. Streetwise, Miss Streetwise, Miss Nobody Gets Over on Me. They're getting over on you like fat rats. And you don't have the sense to realize it. You're too caught up in the team spirit to realize your team is stealing everything from you. Your future, your legacy, everything. Your children's future, your grandchildren's future. It's being taken away from you. You don't need it. There's no law for you. There's special laws. There's laws for Hillary Clinton, and there's laws for the rest of America. Because you break the law with intent. St. Hillary of the bullshitters, she doesn't do anything of the sort. She's a princess, and you're a chump. Time to fix it, America. Here comes November. The Trump train. Get on board.
You're listening to BADMachine on the PPRN Radio Network. PPRNradio.net.
Hidden behind a false wall in the Zion German Reformed Church, located in Northampton Town, Belle, one of America's most recognizable icons, quietly waited, never making a sound. Belle had made a daring, quick escape from the city of Philadelphia to avoid falling into enemy hands. At 20 years of age, Belle was still useful to the enemy. So hidden, Belle would stay until the occupation ended, and Belle would return to Philadelphia, home since leaving London's borough of Tower Hamlets in Whitechapel, England. Away only 9 months, Belle would not be pressed into service for another 7 years after that quick flight from the city of brotherly love. And Belle would remain on duty for 50 years, not being officially retired until 1835, where it's been said Belle became irreparably affected by the death of Chief Justice John Marshall. Others claim it was George Washington's birthday on February 22, 1846. Oddly enough, Belle didn't go by the more recognizable name we all know today, the Liberty Bell. The Liberty Bell had been secretly moved from the city of Philadelphia to Northampton Town, now Allentown, Pennsylvania, as to not let the 2,000 pounds of metal fall into the British hands after Washington's loss at the Battle of Brandywine on September 11, 1777. The Independence Hall bell was commissioned for the 1751 50th anniversary of William Penn's Charter of Liberties, which would be a precursor to the later 1776 Declaration of Independence. Penn was the son of a wealthy British nobleman who had received the territories that we know as Pennsylvania as a payoff for a loan the English king had secured from Penn's wealthy father. Pennsylvania would become a model of religious tolerance and profitable mercantilism that America's colonies would likewise emulate. The Liberty Bell was first cast at Leicester and Pack, now Whitechapel Bell Foundry in Whitechapel, UK. The bell was damaged in transit across the Atlantic, how, nobody knows, and was given to the local smiths John Stowe and John Pass to recast. Unfortunately, neither of the two had sufficient training or experience in casting objects of this size, and the Independence Hall bell was patched up and rung annually for Washington's birthday and the 4th of July celebrations. Hence the likelihood that it did crack on either of those occasions. The Independence Hall bell would bellow her call to proclaim liberty throughout the land unto all inhabitants thereof, as cited from Leviticus 25:10, as a truly American icon, July 8, 1776, 1 week after the Declaration of Independence was penned and signed by the Second Continental Congress, their Committee of Five, at the Vincent Halsey House that once stood on 233rd Street in the Bronx, New York. The Liberty Bell was given her name by the abolitionists of the late 1830s, who had made great strides in stopping the transatlantic slave trade to young United States 22 years earlier in 1812. No newly enslaved unfortunates would ever be delivered to America's shores for a full 49 years before the war between the states was declared in May 1861. The Liberty Bell, though useless as an acoustic beacon, would become the visual representative for America's constitutional values, remaining so until this day, 240 years since that day that Liberty's ring pealed across our new land, resonating still that it might shake the very foundations of tyranny where it still exists. The Liberty Bell was last rung officially on February 22nd, 1931, and it will not be rung again officially until July 4th, 2031, 14 years and 51 weeks from this very day. Not a day goes by in 21st century America where some force tries to drown out liberty's promise with coals to strip you of your creator-endowed rights, or to force you into the yoke of false egalitarianism that is enforced by unconstitutional gender and race quotas. These quotas were created by lying social engineers who value appearances over actual achievement. These individuals who use their rights to assault your rights. Individuals from both the left and right side of the aisle, and their respective liberal and conservative media counterparts. It can only make one wonder. Why do those in such position hold such feelings of disdain and fear where your freedoms are concerned? It makes one wonder why they fear liberty's promise that they so desperately try to deny you its truth. Like the demons who feared Solomon's sigils of power, and the hellspawn held at bay by the Lord's Prayer, too many vocal Americans would plug your ears with their ideology and lies. So frightened of freedom they must be. They are clearly in a thrall of an undiagnosed phobia instilled by parental shortcomings and generational immorality. Whether the strange magic was cast into liberty's metal in ancient Albion as a gift from the antediluvian kings who led generations of freemen who tamed the savage world before the millennia of ice crushed their mighty works, or if that magic was instilled in the great bell on America's shores, where freedom for all men had taken solid purchase in a world of empires and subjects. Like the colossal goddess who stands in New York's harbor, the city of Philadelphia for more than 200 years has been home to America's oldest symbol of freedom, not a bird or a shooting star, but a declaration of liberty and freedom cast in steel, which provides the metal for a nation of free men and free women, all endowed by their Creator with inalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The promise is real. The dream is real. A declaration empowered by God, bound in copper and steel. See the enemy's minions on the run as liberty's peal rings out under the life-giving sun.
Generations ago, men built machines to serve man. Who then serves those machines? Now it is man who jumps to respond to every buzzer and bell issued by the same machine that tells you day is night, cats are dogs, and fish need bicycles. Break away from the lies that bind us to the bad machine Download a dose of radical reality with Jim Dynamo's BADMachine every Friday at 4 on the PPRN Radio Network. Don't let the machine's elevator bring you down.
In every revolution, there's one man with a vision.
Jim Dynamo. Are you sitting comfortably? Good. Then we'll begin. I have been asked, what if I were the devil? Well, if I were the devil, if I were the Prince of Darkness, I would want to engulf the whole world in darkness. I'd have 1/3 of its real estate and 4/5 of its population. But I would not be happy until I had seized the ripest apple on the tree. So I would set about, however necessary, to take over the United States. I'd subvert the churches first, and I would begin with a campaign of whispers, and with the wisdom of a serpent, I would whisper to you as I whispered to Eve, "Do as thou please." To the young I would whisper that the Bible is a myth, and I would convince the children that man created God instead of the other way around. I'd confide that what is bad is good, and what is good is bad. And to the old I would teach to pray to me, Our Father, who art in Washington. Then I'd get organized. I'd educate the authors on how to make lurid literature exciting, so that anything else would appear dull and uninteresting. I'd peddle narcotics to whom I could. I'd sell alcohol to ladies and gentlemen of distinction. I'd tranquilize the rest with pills. If I were the devil, I'd soon have families at war with themselves, churches at war with themselves, and nations at war with themselves until each in its turn was consumed. And with promises of higher ratings, I'd have mesmerizing media fanning the flames. If I were the devil, I would encourage schools to refine young intellects, but neglect to discipline emotion. I'd tell teachers to let those students run wild, and before you knew it, you'd have drug-sniffing dogs and metal detectors at every schoolhouse door. Within a decade, I'd have prisons overflowing and judges promoting pornography. Soon, I would evict God from the courthouse and the schoolhouse, and then from the House of Congress. And in his own church, I would substitute psychology for religion and deify science. I'd lure priests and pastors into misusing boys and girls and church money. If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who wanted, until I had killed incentive for the ambitious. And what will you bet? I could not get whole states to promote gambling as a way to get rich. I'd convince the young that marriage is old-fashioned and sleeping around is much more fun, and that what you see on TV is the only way to be. And lastly, I could undress you in public and lure you into bed with diseases for which there are no cures. In other words, if I were the devil, I'd just keep right on doing what he's been doing all along. BADMachine. You're listening to Jim Dynamo, the man with the nickel. Myths of the Machine is brought to you by our sponsor, Mighty Man Limited. Be a master of the universe when you wear Mighty Man Limited athletic and sportswear, custom designed athletic compression gear for male and female athletes, compression shirts, sports bras, yoga pants, hoodies, and more. Available only at mightyman.logosoftware.com. Be mighty.